Wisham just said something strange. His own man, Chinda, just got hit by a court. A big court, the kind that can end an election dream overnight. Reporters asked Wisham about it. He did not fight back loud. He did not call a press conference. He said something close to this: "Relax, wait for INEC." That is not the Wisham Nigeria knows. The Wisham we know fights fast and fights loud. So why is he quiet now? Is he walking away from his own candidate, or is something else happening that we cannot see yet? Let's get into it. One thing first, if you are not subscribed, you will miss it. Stories like this do not end in one video. Days later, another piece drops that completes the picture. The people who subscribe see it first. You will hear it late from somewhere else after it has gone cold. Subscribing costs you nothing. Missing the next part costs you everything. Subscribe now. Let's continue. Let's set the scene quickly because you need the background to understand why this court ruling hits so hard. Kingsley Chinda is a federal lawmaker from Rivers State. He has been close to Nyesom Wissam, the FCT minister, for years. Earlier this year, Chinda left his old party and joined the APC. On May 21, 2026, the APC held its governorship primary in Rivers State. Governor Fubara, Tonye Cole, and a third aspirant called Alabo George Kelly all stepped down on the morning of the primary. That left Chinda standing alone. He won, unopposed, and was announced as the APC governorship candidate for 2027. That looked clean. It wasn't. The party executive that ran that primary, led by a man named Tony Okocha, had a problem hanging over its head since 2024. A court had already ordered that group not to hold its congresses. They held them anyway. A rival group led by Emeka Beke went back to court, and on May 29, 2026, the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt agreed with Beke. The judge, Justice Elfrida Williams Dowodu, said Okocha's appeal was thrown out for being weak. The Beke camp wasted no time. Their spokesman, Darlington Nwauju, said something very direct. Every decision made by Okocha's group from December 20, 2024 to May 29, 2026 has no legal effect. None. That window covers the primary that produced Chinda. And there's one more thing nobody is talking about enough. A separate group of lawyers has just asked INEC for a specific document. We will come to it because it might be the simplest, most damaging fact in this entire story. Quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. What comes next is where this story changes shape, and if you are not subscribed, you find out a week late. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The lawyers fighting Chinda are not random. They call themselves Aldrap, and some of them are actually from Chinda's own constituency, Obiakpo. Their argument has two parts. Part 1, Chinda's move from his old party to the APC was messy. His resignation letter was dated April 23, 2026, but it was only read out in the House of Representatives on June 2nd, nearly 2 weeks after he had already won the APC primary. The lawyers call this a belated defection. Their argument is simple. If he was still officially in his old party on primary day, he had no business contesting an APC primary at all. Game over before the leadership argument even starts. That's the kind of fact that can end a political career in one document.
So let's talk about Wike's reaction, because this is the part everyone is calling abandonment. On June 4, 2026, Wike was asked directly about all of this. He did not deny anything. He did not promise to fight in court. He told people to relax and wait for INEC to publish its final list of candidates in July. Then he turned around and criticized Beke personally, saying Beke did not properly understand the issues involved. Here is the question. Is that abandonment or is it strategy? Look at it this way. Wike is not panicking in public because panicking in public has never been his style, and because the real fight is not happening on television. It is happening inside the APC's national leadership in Abuja. The national body, the NWC, has continued to back Okocha's side this whole time, even after 2 separate court rulings went against Okocha. If the NWC simply ignores the court noise and sends Okocha's list to INEC in July, the matter becomes INEC's problem, not Wike's. That is likely the bet Wike is making. Let the party machine carry the weight. Stay quiet. Let Beke shout into a system that may not be listening. But here's the danger in that bet. Even if the NWC protects Chinda from the leadership fight, it cannot protect him from the LDRAP case. That lawsuit is not about which faction is real, it is about whether Chinda himself was ever a valid member entitled to contest. The NWC has no power to erase a membership register. Only INEC's own records can answer that question one way or the other. So Wike may not be abandoning Chinda, he may simply be choosing not to fight the battle that is for now unwinnable, while quietly hoping the bigger machine carries his man through anyway. If what I just told you is surprising, drop a comment right now and tell me what you think. Then let's keep going, because the next part changes how you should read this whole story. Here's the detail that puts everything in perspective. Two separate courts have now said the same thing about the Okocha leadership. Not one court, two, a high court and a court of appeal. And the party's national leadership in Abuja has still not issued one single public statement responding to either ruling. Silence from the one body with the actual power to fix this. That silence is not neutral, it is a choice. And every day that choice continues, the candidates who came out of that disputed primary, Chinda included, keep standing on ground that two courts have already said does not exist. What does all of this actually mean for the people of Rivers State? Simple. While powerful men argue over court papers and leadership seats, the state is no closer to knowing who will actually be on the ballot for governor in 2027. Contracts, development plans, and investor confidence all need political stability to function. Right now, Rivers State can't even confirm who its ruling party's candidate legally is 14 months before the election. That uncertainty has a cost, and ordinary people in Rivers State are the ones who pay it, in delayed projects and a state government that spends its energy on court papers instead of roads and hospitals. International observers tracking Nigeria ahead of 2027 are also watching this. Rivers State produces a huge share of Nigeria's oil revenue, so any sign that its ruling party can't even settle who its own candidate is becomes a signal to investors that the politics here remain unpredictable. Now, the other side of this story deserves a fair hearing too. Some will argue Wike's calm is simply confidence, not retreat. He has survived worse political storms before, and a man with his resources and his relationship with Abuja does not need to shout to win. That is a fair point. Quiet does not always mean weak. Others will argue the courts are simply being used as a weapon by Fubara's allies to block Wike's 2027 plans, since Beke's camp is clearly aligned against Wike's interests. That is also fair. Political motive does not disappear just because a court agrees with you.
But here is what cannot be argued away. A restraining order was given. It was ignored. Two courts have now said that ignoring it had consequences, and the lawmaker's resignation letter sat unread for 6 weeks while he ran in a primary for a different party. Whatever the politics behind it, those are simply facts on the record. So, here is what to watch next. Watch whether INEC actually answers Aldrap's request for that membership register. Watch whether the APC's national leadership finally breaks its silence before July. And watch whether Wike shows up in Rivers State personally to campaign for Chinda or keeps directing things quietly from Abuja. Each of those answers will tell you whether this was abandonment or simply Wike playing a longer game than the headlines understood. We started with a question. Has Wike abandoned Chinda? The honest answer right now is we don't know yet, and neither does Wike. Not completely. What we do know is that the foundation under Chinda's ticket has 2 confirmed cracks from the courts and 1 possible crack still waiting to be confirmed by a single document. Whether that ticket survives to election day depends on things that are now completely out of Wike's hands. And for a man who has spent years controlling everything in Rivers State's politics, that loss of control may be the real story here, whether he admits it publicly or not. If this gave you the full picture, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe now if you have not, because the next update on this drops the moment it happens and you don't want to be the one finding out late. That's it for today. Stay informed.